We're going to keep Mark on stage and bring up a few people to do a little bit of a tribute to him. I'd like to tell my own personal story if I have a second. I came to Marquette in 2004 and thinking I was going to be a finance and a marketing guy. And one of my first classes was all freshmen, and this tall blonde-haired guy comes walking in and is talking with all this passion about this new real estate major that they were starting at Marquette University. And I walked home that day back down Wisconsin Avenue to O'Donnell Hall, which is the all guys dorm here on campus. And I remember calling my dad and saying, "Dad, I think I'm going to be a real estate major." And I'll never forget that moment, so thanks, Mark. But we have a few other people to come up and tell some stories and give some honor to Mark. The next person we'd like to bring to the stage is actually the Dean Emeritus of the College of Business himself, Dr. David Schrock.
As you probably know, universities are not generally known as risk takers. But as everyone in real estate knows, one of the neatest things about new ventures is that sometimes you get it right. At their best, business schools provide programs and outreach efforts that serve real business needs, generating graduates and information that make that world better. Marquette's Real Estate Center and program are prime examples of how an institution can move quickly when the right circumstances present themselves. Over a decade ago, a group of people that became the Bell Real Estate Advisors people from Wisconsin and Northern Illinois articulated some unmet needs that would be served by establishing the first Jesuit real estate program at Marquette University. These leaders worked with the College of Business Administration to determine how we could best provide well-prepared graduates with a particular focus on commercial real estate. Much like we heard today on the efforts to start a new real estate venture, and as Mark indicated, 8 presentations to get this stuff approved, you have to ask all the faculty, not just the ones in your program. You have to talk to the administration. You have to talk to the Board of Trustees. We got that through, and we created both of these pieces, which are really critical to what we're doing. The major was required to generate a well-prepared stream of new real estate professionals. The center was needed to continue to facilitate dialogue between the college and the commercial real estate community, providing a focal point for professional interaction. Now, the success of most niche programs in business schools is tied to the leadership of a specific individual with the vision and the skills to foster excellence. This is true of the programs in my major field, transportation and logistics. It's true of the real estate program at University of Madison at Wisconsin, or University of Wisconsin at Madison in the way of Jim Grasskamp. We needed that kind of person at Marquette. I can tell you that Mark Eppli was our equivalent of finding a free agent pitching ace who could take us to the pennant. He came to Marquette with a national reputation, a strong academic record, excellent teaching skills, the ability to work with both academics and real estate professionals, and the vision required to build an excellent program. Building on the work done by many of our early friends in an ability to make Mark feel really welcome in Marquette and in Milwaukee, we were able to attract him. I've been very privileged over the last 10 years to be able to watch the results, to watch Mark's leadership and vision in action in building what I believe is one of the best real estate programs in the nation. So I'd close by saying sometimes you truly do get it right. Thank you, Mark.
Next, we'd like to welcome Peter Bell.
Well, what a wonderful day after thinking back to 10 years ago. But before I give a couple of comments with Mark, a little sports factoid. In 1937, the Marquette Warriors, or I think they were the Hilltoppers back then, went to the first inaugural game in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. That year we beat Wisconsin and Michigan State, and we were ranked number 20 in the country. So remember, we do have a good football team. And there was also the rumor that when Marquette closed their football program here, we were thinking about hiring Vince Lombardi, and we sent him up to Green Bay, and the success was all there. But you know, looking back in the 10 years that when this all started, it started with an idea of our family trying to honor my father, who had mentored me in real estate through his career, who only had 2 years of high school, but always wanted a Jesuit education for all of his children, which he was able to provide. And we met with Dean Schrock and Father Wild, who was the president at that time, and we talked about this vision that we had to bring a new program to Marquette to establish real estate skills, but in the tradition of a Jesuit way of service to others and with a good moral foundation. And that was very important to our family. And Father Wild and Dean Schrock were very open to that idea. But in the tradition of Jesuits, you know, once you give the money, it's kind of gone, and I was a little concerned. So Father Wild was receptive to the idea that we would support the program, but would not pay the corpus on the endowment until 7 years passed. And if the program was not flourishing and doing well, we would owe them nothing, and they'd be stuck with this guy that they hired because he'd be tenured at that time. So through those 7 years, it was always kind of nervous when it came up to make the decision time, were we happy? And boy, were we ever. Mark was just a great find that we brought in. We brought him back to Wisconsin, where his family is. We got through the issues that he had 3 degrees from Wisconsin, put that behind us. And Mark's got a canny ability to work well with students, work well with the business community, work well with alumni and so forth. And that's really kind of a special skill set that he has that has allowed this program to flourish and go forward. And today we have this conference 10 years after it all began. And I think it's kind of special that we're fortunate enough to have Mark as our head and also to be the interim dean at the school. And I think through all of your help going forward, we can make this program get better and better, better for our students, better for our community, and better in that Jesuit tradition of being involved in the local matters. So a hand to Mark for all he's done and all we will do in the future.
With 2 more honors to go, I'd like to introduce Melissa Goins.
Good afternoon. My name is Melissa Goins, as Andy mentioned. I am the president and founder of a real estate development company called Moore's Development Group. I was asked by the conference organizers to say a few words about Dr. Mark Eppli, specifically as it relates to the Associates in Commercial Real Estate program, also known as ACRE, and one of Mark's many accomplishments here at Marquette University. Because it's the end of the day, we were given very strict instructions to keep it brief, and it's very contrary to my natural style. So I guess, here we go. So some of you may be asking, well, what is the ACRE program? Actually, today's conference theme, this whole idea of long-term investing in a short-term market environment, is fitting. There are times when it is appropriate to change up a strategy, even when the idea is new and the anticipated results somewhat sketchy. It requires a certain dedication, passion, and commitment to make it successful. When Mark ponied up this idea of a program that was set on diversifying the commercial real estate arena in southeastern Wisconsin through networking, training, and placement, it didn't just happen because he said it. It happened and continued, for 6 years because he worked at it. He believed in ACRE, its participants, and the program supporters. I personally have Mark to thank for his vision, similar to the vision that's required in today's economy. Personally, I participated in the inaugural ACRE program back in 2004. At that time, I was very, very pregnant and very determined. I have a personality flaw that requires me to always be doing something. So when I saw the advertisement for free education, free food, and a potential internship, I knew it would be a fit. Albeit at the time my mind was set on my pregnancy and my law enforcement career, something called me to apply, and the rest is history. Out of Engr, I made a lot of connections and started my firm, which is just over 6 years old, and the ACRE baby, Gabriel, turned 7 this past February. ACRE officially started in 2004, like I said, and ran for 6 years until the spring of 2010, when it was officially transitioned into an alumni group. Mark taught classes in the early years and guest lectured later on. This real estate certificate program trained more than 150 minorities in Southeast Wisconsin, resulting in new young leadership, career opportunities, and real estate ventures in the region. In closing, I was asked to say a few comments about how Mark has been important to the community. And ultimately, I think his family, Eliza, Maddie, and Zoe, are probably his best contribution ever. So thanks for that. But on a serious note, I think Mark is quite a character, a little surfer boy mixed with intelligence, makes for some ongoing excitement. His ideas combined with his work ethic are his proven gifts. Thanks, Mark, to you. I just want to thank you for all that you've done and all that you will continue to do. You've been a blessing for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. And for our last speaker today, before we hand it over to Betty to release you for your beverages, is Danny Queenan.
No, you had your shot earlier.
Thanks, everyone. I'm Danny Queenan, and I want to thank Wani for keeping the fire going as well. I've been staring at that, and I'm just really mellow right now. But I was asked to make some comments about Mark in the business perspective, from the industry perspective. And here is why I respect Mark Eppli, and I'm proud to know him. I trust him. He listens. He believes that he can help you, and he usually can. He keeps things in confidence. He checks in with you, and he wants to talk shop. And when he does that, he wants the information for the right reasons. He wants it so that he can apply it to what he's teaching his students. I think that Mark is so very great for the Marquette University brand. And I want to give you a very few quick examples of this. First and foremost, Mark is very good about checking in with me anyway. He probably thinks that I need the help, which I do, in saying, hey, DQ, how's it going? What's going on at Trammell Crow Company? And as soon as he calls or I hear his voice, I start clearing my calendar because I know we're going to talk for a while, and I usually need that time. But he gets right after it in terms of, where are your co-investment dollars going? Where are you taking risks? Where aren't you? Et cetera, et cetera. And I answer all the questions because I trust him, and I usually want his feedback on what I'm up to. He's exceptional with the give, take, and listening, and I always end those phone calls with something to think about, and I try and do things a different way. Example number 2 is I asked Mark this past spring to come down and to present to Trammell Crow Company in Dallas, and it was our partners in leadership meeting. So it was the 60 Trammell Crow partners and then 20 or so of our capital partners. So it was a stadium of know-it-alls, a jungle of know-it-alls. And I put Mark on for 90 minutes, and when I did that, I think people were rolling their eyes wondering what's Danny jamming on us, for 90 minutes. And then Mark got up there and he went into his presentation, and he had his statistics, and he was applying them, and they were real world, and he had his humor and his electricity, and before you know it, everyone's just magnetized, and people are asking him questions, and they're nodding in response to his answers, and you could just see everybody, come to Mark. And so we got done with that presentation, and of course everybody ran up and said, well, we got to bring this guy back next year. What's his phone number? I want to call him and talk, et cetera, et cetera. And then they also mentioned, if he ever leaves the academic sector, we're going to hire that guy. And I had to kind of calm some of those compliments down just to make sure that Mark didn't get a big head, but it was well deserved. And the bottom line is that he left Dallas and he left everyone in that room with an awesome impression of Marquette University. And when he left, I think he represented the school brilliantly. And I think that everyone there was much more familiar with Marquette University, and many in the room were that much closer to hiring one of its students. And I think that's Mark's real value. He's outstanding for our brand. And he wants to create self-aware leaders with character, and I know he'll do it, and I think we should help him. And Mark, I want to thank you for everything.
All right, we always have to give him directions and commands. He listens pretty good, though. I just want to thank our speakers today. They were tremendous, our panelists, our moderators. I think they all deserve a big round of applause. We also want to thank Mark, and we have a couple of ways that we'd like to do that, and I'd like to start, actually I should say, I've had many a meeting with Mark in his old office on the 3rd floor. He now has a nice expanded office on the 1st floor. But you know what? He's got a lot of wall space. And so we thought about, how can we correct that problem? Well, we've got a couple of ideas. We'd like to present, actually, Mark, on behalf of the students, the alumni, all of these folks here today, friends of the program, we really appreciate your 10 years of service, all that you've done for the university, all that you've done for the program, all that you've done for the center. And so this is for you.
Wonderful plaque. Thank you.
Okay. That'll take care of one side of your office.
Will we have fire coming up in this?
Yeah, well, yeah, we can get that fire. Okay.
Thank you.
So picture that on one side of his office. On the other side, you're gonna need a coat rack and a hat rack. You do, okay? Do you have one?
I don't.
Oh, see, okay,
I
well,
don't.
you're gonna need one, because you're gonna have a new display. This is the guy that I introduced as multifaceted and multitasking, who wears lots of hats. So, you're gonna have hats. We're gonna start with this one, because, yeah, you might as well start. It's Pabst Farms, no less, it looks good. This one is really to remind you that no matter how high you ascend in the college, in the university, you're a real estate guy. Okay. All right, this one, and I'm not sure about the color of the tassel. Hopefully we're okay in this. I think it got a little faded. Anyway, this one is to remind you that you used to have easy graduation duties in the real estate department. Now as dean, you're going to have lots of parties to go to. So here you go.
Thank you.
Okay. What's next? Actually, where's Wani? Mike, you said it. Professor Goldilocks, he's now Dean Goldilocks. There you go. Oh, this one I'm not sure. I golfed with Mark. No, I know that. A few years back, and you know, I mean, it's not like I'm the best golfer in the world, but you can tell when somebody's got no talent at all. No amount of lessons are going to help. So anyway, but as dean, you're going to have to play some golf. Okay, so we're going to give him a visor, and hopefully we can run up the collection for some lessons. Here you go.
Some liability insurance.
Oh, all right. This one I love. Where's Melissa? Is she still here? Okay. She talked about Mark's role as a dad. He's got to be one of the best dads that I know, because I called him this week and we were preparing for the conference, and he's like kind of, you know, I can't do it. I've got this, I've got that. And as it turns out, where was he? He was taking Zoe to her first day of 4th grade. So this is his dad hat. Oh, we never got around to making labels for this one, so All right, so ignore the Hills Brothers and picture this. This is your new can that as dean, you're in the Jesuit tradition, remember?
Oh, so
Yep, you're walking around with the can and the handout. So we can all see him doing that, right? So there you go. A round of applause for Mark. All right, you may now depart. No. Thank you to everyone for coming. I just think of all that was said today, the trends, some new terms that I didn't know, a silver tsunami. I love that one. I guess I'm going to be part of that, so I don't know. But anyway, thank you again for coming. We're looking forward to all of you being at our next conference next fall, back here in Milwaukee, maybe Chicago. We're not sure yet, but we will have another one. And I have two requests, actually. One is you're going to be receiving an email from us, actually, look for it tomorrow, which is going to have a really quick survey. We'd love your feedback. We'd love to hear how this conference really came across, and if there's anything that you'd like us to do differently for next year, that would really help. Number two, there happen to be some young faces in the crowd. Those are our students. During the networking reception, we would love to have, we'd encourage you really, to pick out two of those students and just spend some time with them. I think you're really going to be impressed. And with that, let's all have some time to network out there. Thank you again.